Hello bookworms! It's time for another news and stuff video. As always, we've got a lot to cover. We're going to start with some book box spoilers, and I'm just going to go for it. There's not really an intro today because I'm going to my cousin's wedding soon and I need to get ready for that. So here we go. So first up is Fairy Loot, the YA December book. They did a theme reveal, which is Artifacts of Power. So the YA December book for Fairy Loot is going to be What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. As soon as they released the aesthetic reel, I was like, this is definitely What the River Knows, but I was really confused because that comes out at the end of October. And then my friend Alexa pointed out that it comes out in late November in the UK, so that's why it's the December book, and that made so much more sense to me. Next, the mock-up for the Bookish Box October adult book was released, and this one is Salt Kiss by Sierra Simone. Really, really lovely design. Then we got the Bookish Box YA October book mock-up, and this one is for The Night Hunt by Alexandra Christo. Again, really, really beautiful book. And lastly, we got the Afterlight theme for November. This book is going to be Second Chances in Newport Stephen by TJ Alexander. The cover on this one is already really cute, so I'm looking forward to seeing what Afterlight does with this one. Moving on to our next category, which is special editions. So the first thing I want to talk about is actually an update that I received from Waterstones. So in a previous news video, I had talked about how there was a new listing on Waterstones for a bind-up of Dune Messiah and Children of Dune in a special edition that would probably be similar to the edition that they did of the first book, Dune. They sent out an email to anyone who pre-ordered a copy saying that they just found out from the publisher that it will no longer be a bind-up. It's actually going to be a singular book just for Dune Messiah. And the price has been adjusted, and they have also revealed what the book is going to look like. Next up, and this is a big one, is that Cassandra Clare has announced that she will be doing a Kickstarter. It's going to be kind of similar to the Year of Secret Projects that Brandon Sanderson ran. And I think it's really interesting that since Brandon had so much success, I do feel like there have been really high number of book Kickstarters that have popped up since then, but Cassandra Clare is probably one of the next like really big, really well-known authors that's going to be launching her own one. So this is going to be a year of Shadowhunter books. There will be 4 brand new physical books that will all be a special edition exclusive to the Kickstarter campaign, as well as a journal. Of these 4 books, 2 of them will be completely brand new content. Cassandra Jean and cover artist Jenny Zemanek will be the artists working on the project. And for this Kickstarter, we will get 1 book that will ship per season from early 2024 into early 2025. So 1 book that is previously released content will be Secrets of Blackthorn Hall, which was previously published on Tumblr. This will be released in a newly printed stamped hardcover with Cassandra Jean's art in full color. The second book will be a collection of 4 novella-length stories, and it will be called Careful of Books. The next book will be Notable Shadowhunters, and it will be a repackaging of Cassandra Jean's flower card series, and it will also be updated to include some Shadowhunters that we have met in later books. And the last book is called the Better in Black book, and this one will be a collection of 10 brand new short stories set within the world of Shadowhunters. All of the 4 books will be designed to complement one another, and with the final shipment, there will also be a complimentary slipcase so that you can keep all 4 of them in like a box set together. You can currently sign up to be notified for when the Kickstarter launches. I have a feeling it's going to come pretty soon. Cassandra said that she was trying to get to 10,000 people signed up before they actually launched it, and at the last time that I checked, she was over 9,000, so I feel like it's probably coming like super soon. Let me know how you feel about this. I'm really interested to see how this is going to go. I personally am definitely going to back it since I do love Cassandra Clare's Shadowhunter world, but I do feel like it has waned a little bit in popularity since like the height of everything. I feel like the height was kind of like the like Lady Midnight era, even before, but like I feel like that was like really the peak. So I'm just curious, like, because I do feel like there are a lot of readers who have not necessarily like aged out of Shadowhunters, but have definitely grown up and have seem to have lost a little bit of interest. Very interested in this one. Next up, Waterstones announced a new special edition of Fourth Wing to match their edition of Iron Flame. So this is a really good opportunity for people who missed out on that elusive first print run. This one's going to be released in January of 2024. Next up, Fairy Loot officially announced their first Iron edition, and as predicted, it is for the Red Rising trilogy, the first 3 books in the series, so Red Rising, Golden Sun, and Morning Star. I actually really like the design of these, like even more than the original books that they had released. They really like went above and beyond with this new series, and I'm just obsessed with it. However, I am really curious to know what this means for Iron Gold and Dark Age. I don't know if that means that they're going to get new editions that will match these new Iron editions, or if they're treating it as like that as like a separate series, so the difference in design will not really be addressed. They haven't really answered any questions on that yet, so I'm curious to know because the sale date is like rapidly approaching. Oh my gosh, next I'm so excited, but Afterlight is going to be doing a special edition of the Well Met series by Jen DeLuca. This is like my favorite romance series. It all takes place at a Renaissance fair. The last one takes place at multiple Renaissance fairs, and it is so much fun. I love this series to pieces. I actually just read the last one like this month. They announced it while I was in the middle of reading it, so it was like perfect timing for me. But I think that these are so cute. I really love the colors that they picked, and I really like how the covers of the book with the dust jacket on have like our characters in normal clothes, and then when you take it off, they're all wearing like their Ren Fair outfits. So cute. Then Fairy Loot announced their special edition of the Dark Element series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the Gargoyle trilogy, so this one includes White Hot Kiss, Stone Cold Touch, and Every Last Breath. I think these are like absolutely gorgeous, and I am beyond obsessed with them. The colors that they picked, again, are like so perfect. Really excited to get my hands on this series as well. The one thing I will say though is that like October and November special edition sales are like out of control. Then LitJoy Crate released their editions of Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. These are fully annotated editions. They are so gorgeous. I feel like they fit the series so well. They're all like black with lots of gold foiling, and they're just perfect. There's even like die cuts on the cover, and they also revealed some of the interior art that we talked about in the last News and Stuff video, and I just think these are going to be amazing. Then Fairy Loot announced their special editions of the Fortuna series by KJ Sutton. I feel like this one we kind of all knew it was coming, so I'm glad that it was finally revealed. They're amazingly gorgeous. I love them, and now I really need to read the first couple of books to make sure that I want to get this series before they go on sale. I think that these are so pretty, and you guys know that I am just like a sucker for sprayed pages that have weapons on them. So this set includes the first 4 books in the series. So Fortuna Sworn, Restless Slumber, Deadly Dreams, and Beautiful Nocturnes. Then Illumicrate revealed their edition of Empire of the Damned by Jake Kristoff. This one again is really beautiful. I think that their edition of Empire of the Vampire was my favorite of any of the ones that were done, so I was really like just waiting for them to reveal this one. I think it is gorgeous. Again, sprayed pages are really cool, and I just love how much foiling is on these books. Illumicrate also revealed their special edition of The Atlas Complex by Olivia Blake. So if you watched my September wrap up, you'll know that I've got quite the dilemma here. I'm not really sure what to do with this one. Their edition is amazing, like really, really beautiful, but I hated the Atlas Paradox, so I don't know what to do. Owlcrate revealed their special editions for books 2 through 4 in the Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. I think that these are also really beautiful. I love the cover art on them. However, I really wish that there were sprayed pages, so I opted not to get these, and I am still hoping that either LitJoy or Illumicrate will do like the most beautiful editions of the Raven Cycle, because that is one of my favorite series, and I just feel like every company who has done the book so far has not done them justice. Like, they could be so much better. Afterlight is releasing a special edition of Do Your Worst by Rosie Danan. I really love the way that this one looks too, and I've been so highly anticipating this book. It sounds like so much fun. I love that it's compared to The Mummy. I actually have an arc of this one, so I'm going to try to read it really soon. Then Bramble revealed the first printing edition of The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. We talked about the acquisition of this one in an earlier news video. Sorry that I like keep pointing this out, but I always think it's fun to like give updates to things that we've already talked about in the past. It's amazing. This cover is beyond gorgeous. It's like a new cottagecore cozy fantasy, and it just looks like something straight up out of Tangled, especially with the lilac sprayed pages. I pre-ordered this one immediately. Bramble also revealed the cover and the teal sprayed pages for Can't Spell Treason Without Tea by Rebecca Thorne. This is a cozy sapphic mystery series. It's coming on May 7th, and again, super cute. I think Bramble is just killing it with their designs. Then we got the edition reveals for Abaddon's Gate and Chabola Burn by James S.A. Corey. These are the special edition books that we talked about in the last video. I had mentioned that the listings popped up on Amazon for these books because they had done a special edition of Leviathan Wakes and then it was just like radio silence, but they finally revealed them. They're really beautiful. The colors are not what I was expecting. I thought that they were going to go along with the title font and keep everything like kind of neon, but they didn't. They definitely went a different route. It's more like primary colors, which is still really nice. I don't necessarily think that the books go with the first one very well, but I do think that they go with the series really well. Then the Broken Binding revealed their edition of The Art of Destiny by Wesley Chu. This is the second book after The Art of Prophecy, and anyone who ordered The Art of Prophecy from them has already received an email with a pre-order link to the second book, and they have until the end of October to order it before it goes on general sale. Then Golan's revealed a special edition of The Lies of Locke Lamora. I really like this design. The city and like the orange pages make it look very spooky and very Halloweenish, which I don't necessarily think is very like Lies of Locke Lamora, but I do think it's really pretty overall. However, this one is pretty limited. There's only 750 copies that are being printed and it's kind of expensive. I think it's like 75 pounds. Then Owl Crate did a reveal for their dust jacket of Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. Again, this one is really, really pretty. I had no idea that the red hardback that they revealed wasn't the final book. I didn't realize that there was going to be a dust jacket with it too, but I think the dust jacket art is really lovely. Fairy Loot also revealed their edition of Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. These are the special editions that are being released in 2 volumes. They're really pretty. I don't think they're anything super special. These ones are very purple and very nice. Then Barnes & Noble revealed their exclusive edition of Children of Anguish and Anarchy. This is by Tomi Adeyemi, and it is the 3rd and final book in the Legacy of Orisha trilogy. This one has a really beautiful cover and really beautiful sprayed pages, but it has been a really long time since the second book in the series came out. I know fans are really excited that they're finally going to be getting this last book. Barnes & Noble also has an exclusive foiled edition of the first volume of Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. It's really, really pretty. I'm planning on reading these graphic novels and watching the show like really soon, and if I end up loving them the way that everyone else does, I'm totally going for this edition. It also includes 4 bonus mini comics. Then Waterstones revealed a special edition of Vengeance of the Pirate Queen by Trisha Levenseller. This is the 3rd book in the Daughter of the Pirate King series. Bookish Box revealed their edition of A Soul of Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. And is it just me, or does like every single one of her books have the same title? I swear every time that I go, the new ones, like all of the new ones, I feel like have such similar titles. And I have to read it like a million times before I do news videos because I'm like, what am I talking about? Then The Broken Binding revealed their edition of Murtagh by Christopher Paolini. Their edition is really pretty. I really like the pages on this one. We've got a dragon, and also the dragon foiling on the hardback is amazing. Since there is a new illustrated edition of Aragon that is coming out, I think the same day as Murtagh, I wouldn't be surprised if The Broken Binding ends up tackling the rest of the series, assuming that Murtagh does well. Then The Broken Binding announced a sign-up form to gauge interest in a sci-fi subscription series. So their original idea had been for the subscription to be quarterly and it would focus on new releases. However, with the mass amount of interest and specifically the interest in backlist series, they decided to send out a survey to anybody who signed up for the waiting list to vote on whether they would rather have a bi-monthly subscription that would focus on more series and backlist, or to have a quarterly subscription that would focus on new releases. I signed up for it just out of curiosity, but I'm kind of on the fence about this one because I don't really read that much sci-fi. The Scripted Letter Co. revealed special editions for Stephanie Garber's Once Upon a Broken Heart series. These are really, really pretty. Love the sprayed pages on them. They match the covers really well. I think that these are pretty limited. This is a company that I found on Instagram I've never ordered from them before, so I don't really know too much about them, but I just thought that these looked really pretty. And lastly, in special editions, The Broken Binding revealed their next title, their third title from TBB Press, and it is The Iron Crown by L.L. McRae. I've actually never heard of this book before. I don't know anything about it, but I like that there's a dragon on the cover. Moving on to cover reveals. First up, we have The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. This is an adult fantasy standalone that is coming from Flatiron Books on April 9th. It's a historical fantasy and it's set during the Spanish Golden Age, and this must be the first book in that big deal announcement that we had earlier on where Leigh Bardugo signed on with Macmillan. I think it was for like 6 books in all different genres. So this is the first one that is finally announced. There have already been a number of special editions that have popped up. There's one from Waterstones, there's one from Barnes & Noble. I think the regular US printing is going to have black sprayed pages, so there are a lot of options with this one. Then one that is near and dear to my heart is Evocation by S.T. Gibson. I was lucky enough to get to help reveal the cover for this one over on Instagram, so I'll share my photo as well as the actual cover, but I think this one is so beautiful and I really like this art style. This seems to be a new trend that is coming. It's like kind of on the horizon for a couple of new fantasy releases and I love it. I think this is a really great direction for us to move in. I also really love all of the foiling. I think that this book is just going to be amazingly gorgeous once we get it in person, and I love S.T. Gibson, so I'm sure it's also going to be like so good. Then we got both the UK cover and the US cover for The Narrow Road Between Desires by Patrick Rothfuss. This is the November Kingkiller Chronicle novella release. It is an expanded version of The Lightning Tree, which is a short story that was previously published in the anthology Rogues. This one already has a terrible overall rating on Goodreads. I think it's at like 2.14 stars, and it's mostly just because people are mad that they're not getting the third book and that we're getting another novella. I'm gonna read it, of course, but I really also wish that we were getting the third book. I think that I like the UK cover a lot better for this one. I really like how it's like framed by the flowers, and it's very cool to see Kvothe like reaching for the moon. I think that's just like beautiful imagery. Whereas the US one I think is also really beautiful, but it's more like spooky. It's not like, I don't know. I think the UK one is more like fantasy, but I'll probably get both, so. Then we got the cover for Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. This one has a forbidden secret affair that proves that all's fair in love and science. In this one, our main character is a biotech engineer, which is super cool. And this one's coming out in June of 2024. Very excited. I think this might be my least favorite Ali Hazelwood cover yet, but does not make me any less excited to read the book. Then we got the cover for Of Empires and Dust by Ryan Cahill. This is the 4th book in the Bound and the Broken series. I really like this cover. The purple is really beautiful, and I'm so excited to read more of this series. Ryan seems to publish things like so fast. He's like one of the quickest fantasy writers next to Brandon Sanderson, and I cannot complain. Then we got a cover for The Witch Would Not by Olivia Atwater. This one is the first book in the Victorian fairy tale series. It is a dark fairy tale set in a magical version of Victorian London, and it is also set within the same world as Half a Soul, and we don't have to wait long at all. This one is coming out on November 28th. Then we got a gorgeous cover of Feybound by Sarah L. Arafi. This one is about 2 elven sisters imprisoned in the hidden world of the Fae, and I love this cover. This one is a January 2024 release, and to be honest, I would not be surprised if this is like the adult pick for Fairy Loot for either January or February. Then we got the Bramble cover reveal for The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King by Carissa Broadbent. This is the 2nd book, and it wraps up the first story arc within the Crowns of Nyaxia series. It's extremely similar to the indie published version, except that we just have like a little bit of difference of color. There's a bit more vibrancy, and I like that because I liked the original covers, so I'm glad that they didn't get changed very much. Then we got a cover for Tides and Drift by Adrienne Young. This book is 2 new short stories set within the world of Fable. So the first one's called Tide and the second one's called Drift. These ones follow Asta, Paj, Willa, and Koi, and this book is coming out on February 1st. Then we got a cover for The Housemaid is Watching by Frida McFadden. This is the 3rd book in the Housemaid series, and this one is coming in June of 2024. I don't really want to look up anything about this one since I haven't read the first 2 books, but cover! Then we got the cover for Tangled Up in You by Christina Lauren. This is the next book in Disney's adult romance meant to be series. This installment is very obviously Rapunzel inspired, and I really like the cover, and it's coming June 25th. Then we got the cover for This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. This is a beautiful cover. I still need to read the first book. This is the follow-up to Before I Let Go, and it's coming March 5th, 2024. Then we got the cover for Goddess of the River by Vaishnavi Patel. This is the same author who did Kaiki, and very interestingly, we have the exact same cover for the US and the UK, which feels super rare, but does happen from orbit sometimes. This one's coming out in May of 2024. Then we got the UK cover for Tales of the Celestial Kingdom by Sue Lin Tan. This is the book of short stories set within the world of the Celestial Kingdom, which is Daughter of the Moon Goddess and Heart of the Sun Warrior. There are short stories that take place throughout the entire series. Some of them are prequels, some of them happen in tandem with the other books in the series, and then other ones take place afterward. Then we got the cover for Magnolia Park Into the Dark by Jessica Hastings. This one's coming in February of 2024, and I still really want to read this series. I've heard it described often as like the UK version of Gossip Girl, and that sounds so good to me. Also by Jessica Hastings, we got a cover for Never, and this one is a reimagining of Peter Pan, and it's coming out on December 5th. Then we got a cover for How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwang. This one I'm especially interested in because Yulin Kwang is the screenwriter for the adaptation of Emily Henry's People We Meet on Vacation, and she also is directing Emily Henry's Beach Read adaptation. So pretty excited to read something that is by her. Then we got a cover for The Kingdom of Sweets by Erica Johansson. Erica Johansson wrote the Queen of the Tearling series, and we haven't really heard anything from her since, but this cover, the UK cover, is so beautiful. It's also so much better than the US cover. And this one is a Nutcracker retelling that's coming on November 30th, and it's just so Christmassy and fun. Then we got the cover reveal for Heartstopper, Volume 5 by Alice Oseman. This one's coming out in December. We also got the cover for Attached at the Hip by Christine Riccio. Christine is a very popular booktuber here on YouTube. I really enjoyed her first book. I actually haven't read the second one, but it's been on my TBR for a while. But her third one sounds really good. It takes place on, I think it takes place like on an island in like a Survivor-like situation. This one's coming in May of 2024. Then we got the cover for The Tales of Exandria Artagan by Sam Maggs and illustrated by Aviv Orr. This is one of the next comics that's coming from the world of Critical Role. So we got one for The Bright Queen, and now we're going to get one for Artagan, which I'm really excited because Artagan is pretty awesome. And this one's coming out January 3rd, so not too far away. Probably the first issue is probably not like the entire thing that's being released, but either way, I'm excited. Then we got a cover for We Shall Be Monsters by Tara Sim. This is a new dark YA fantasy novel. It's described as Frankenstein meets Indian mythology, and this one's coming June 25th of 2024. I really like this cover. Then we got a cover for Snowblooded by Emma Sterner Radley. This one is described as The Princess Bride meets Six of Crows, and it's set in 18th century Scandinavia, and it's coming on May 9th of 2024. Then we got a cover for Of Jade and Dragons by Amber Chen. This is an Asian-inspired YA fantasy with a stunning cover, and this one's coming on June 18th. Then we got a cover for Darker by 4 by June C.L. Tan. This is a new YA fantasy novel from the author of Jade Fire Gold, and it's coming out on April 2nd. Then we got an updated cover reveal for A Botanical Daughter by Noah Medlock, and the reason that we got an updated one here is because the publishers did not know that some elements of the original cover were actually AI generated art, so they removed those elements, revised them, and came out with this newly updated cover. And lastly, we got the cover reveal for Pardon My Frenchie by Farah Rochon. I love this cover. It is so much fun. The buzzwords that went along with this one are that it is a grumpy sunshine romance, there are dogs, and it's set in New Orleans. I just think this cover is like super cute. Next up, we have general book news. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is so interesting. There is an untitled 2023 Red Tower book release that has popped up on Amazon, a listing for it, and no one knows what it is. It's coming out November 7th, which is the same day that Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros is coming out. There's been so much speculation around what this title could be. I pre-ordered it because who knows? Who knows? It does seem like it's going to be Fourth Wing related. I believe there was like a moment where Target actually had this release attributed to Rebecca Yarros, but it was quickly removed. I don't think anyone was supposed to really know. So I'm curious when they're going to actually like announce what it is. But some things that I've heard is that it could potentially be Violet's Book of Fairy Tales. It could be a Christmas story. It could be a new edition of Fourth Wing that matches their upcoming edition of Iron Flame. It could be a special edition of Iron Flame that matches the first edition of Fourth Wing. There are lots of options here, but the release date is rapidly approaching and there is no word on what this mysterious book is. Then we got a title reveal for Riley Sager's next book. It's called Middle of the Night, and it's coming on June 18th. I'm so excited for this one. I love reading Riley Sager's books, and this one is set in New Jersey, and I believe the protagonist is a boy or a man, which is interesting because he usually only writes from female perspectives, so it'll be fun to see him do something new. Then we're going to talk about Ashley Winstead a little bit later, but in one particular article, it was announced that Ashley is going to be releasing a romantic drama in 2024 that is entitled Future Saints. Next, it was announced that Berkley has acquired 2 new books from the author of the Ice Planet Barbarian series, Ruby Dixon. It's called Bull Moon Rising, and it is a romantic series in which a spinster heiress, desperate to restore her family's standing, becomes the most unlikely member of the deadly and lucrative Royal Artificers Guild, and the apprentice to an intimidating minotaur who might need her just as much as she needs him. So this is probably a romance between a human and a minotaur, because why not? The expected publication for this one is fall of 2024. Then Rachel Solomon announced Past, Present, Future, which is a sequel to her YA contemporary novel Today, Tonight, Tomorrow. This one's coming out on June 4th, and it follows the characters from the first novel, but it takes place during their first year of college, and it is dual POV. Then today on Instagram, Ryan Cahill and a couple of other authors posted a mysterious title. It just says The Day of the Dragon with a release date of October 10th, so later this week, really not too far away. I have a feeling that since multiple authors posted it, it's probably going to be some type of dragon anthology where a couple of authors have written short stories, maybe set within the worlds of the books that they've written. So this is a potential Bound in the Broken short story coming from Ryan Cahill, which is wild because, again, he just writes so fast. Then Dark Horse announced that they will be releasing part 2 of Fitz's story. So they did a comic adaptation of the first part of Assassin's Apprentice. The first issue of Assassin's Apprentice 2 is set to release in December, and you can actually pre-order the first volume, which is a bind-up of Assassin's Apprentice 1, which is issues 1 through 6, and that's due to come out November 8th. Then Wednesday Books announced that they acquired Mara Rutherford's next book. It's actually a duology, so it's called A Curious Kind of Magic, and it is a YA fantasy series where we are following a con woman who sells fake magical items, and there is a woman that comes to her door that's cursed where everything that she touches is magic, and she's like desperately looking for a cure. This one's planned for release for 2025. Then Del Rey announced that they're going to be releasing a Stardew Valley cookbook. This looks so cute. I really love the art on the cover of this one. This is going to be coming out spring of 2024. Then this is not a book, but Dana's Bakery revealed some cookies that are Twilight themed in honor of the 15th anniversary of Twilight. Apple cider is Team Edward and blackberry pomegranate is Team Jacob. And I feel like they totally should have reversed these. Like the blackberry pomegranate with the red that looks like blood absolutely should have been for Edward. I don't know why they did that. Now moving on to adaptation news, and we actually have quite a bit in here because the strike is like over-ish. They've reached an interim agreement, so there has been a flood of announcements that have surfaced. The first one that I'm so excited for is that SNL is finally coming back. It's going to be back on October 14th, so this upcoming Saturday, and the first host is going to be Pete Davidson, and he was actually supposed to be the host of the last episode of SNL that got canceled when the strike started. And the musical guest is going to be Ice Spice. Next, Neil Gaiman has confirmed that he has begun writing the scripts for Good Omens 3, despite the fact that it has not been renewed just yet. With the strike being over, he did confirm online that he has been hired to write the next script, so that bodes well for the series. Next up, and this is where the other Ashley Winstead news comes in, it was announced that Imagine bought the rights to Ashley's newest book, which is Midnight is the Darkest hour. The last paragraph of the article also states that In My Dreams I Hold a Knife and The Last Housewife are also both being optioned and in development for streaming series. I'm pretty excited. I love Ashley Winstead's books. I don't know if I could watch The Last Housewife be brought to life, but I'm definitely here for In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. Then it was announced that Jessica Knoll's newest book, Bright Young Women, has also been optioned. This is planned to be adapted into a TV series, and this one is especially interesting because I like that it is about a serial killer, but it focuses on the women, and it's more about the women's story than the serial killer story. Then we got a full trailer for the upcoming Percy Jackson adaptation on Disney+. We also got all of the episode title names, and this is coming out really soon, so I'm just basically like counting down the days. It was also announced that Heartstopper Season 3 is officially in production. This was confirmed on Instagram in a post by Netflix and the official Heartstopper account. Then it was announced that leading up to the release of The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, The Hunger Games, the first movie, is going to be re-released in theaters for 2 nights only, so I think it's October 15th and October 18th, and honestly that sounds really fun to just relive the Hunger Games on the big screen. And speaking of The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, we also got another trailer for the movie. I actually forgot to watch it before I started filming this video, so I don't have anything to say about it, but look it up. Then it was announced that Starz has greenlit the Hunting Wives series, and this is going to be based on the thriller by May Cobb. I haven't read this one, but it's been on my library list for a while, so it's a good reason to finally pick it up. It was also announced that the adaptation of Hugh Howey's Beacon 23 will now be streaming on MGM+. It was originally supposed to be on Spectrum Originals, but that no longer exists. This series has 8 episodes, and it is a sci-fi series that takes place at a lighthouse in space, which sounds so cool. The show stars Lena Headey of Game of Thrones, and she plays a government agent who finds herself in a contentious relationship with the lighthouse keeper. This one releases on November 12th. Then we also got a trailer for the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who, and I'm so excited for this. David Tennant and Donna Noble will be on screen again, which is just like the dream team. The trailer also shows Neil Patrick Harris, who is going to be playing the Toymaker, which is a nemesis of the Doctor's that has not appeared on screen in like 57 years. There's still no air date for this, but supposedly it's coming in November, so not long to wait. And then lastly, we do not yet have to say goodbye to our favorite residents of the Acadia because Only Murders in the Building has been renewed for a 4th season. I still have to watch season 3. I really loved seasons 1 and 2, but I just haven't gotten around to 3 yet because we've been so busy, and I'm kind of glad because now I can like binge all of them and see what's happening instead of waiting week to week, which will be good. But that is finally it. That is all of the news that I have to share. This is a much longer video than usual because I did wait a couple of weeks to do one of these. So with that, and also with the interim agreement for the strike, I feel like there was just so much news to cover. So let me know anything that you might have found out. Let me know what you're most excited for. And that's all that I have for this video. I will be editing it forever, and I will see you guys soon in a new one. Bye!